Hi everybody, how's it going? I'm Russell Aaron. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I work at WebDevStudios, and so tonight I'm actually, or today, wherever you are, hopefully you're around the world watching something really cool. So today we're actually going to talk about how your WordPress theme doesn't need to dictate your business. So what I mean by that is that if you have a cupcake shop, you don't need to have a cupcake theme. That's why a lot of businesses like WebDev and Zeek Interactive and stuff like that, we build our own frameworks. We take our own themes, something from like underscores or something like that, and we actually build from the ground up. Because what happens is when you start doing themes, and you start getting into super specific niche themes, something like taxi cab theme, it's not specifically for a taxi cab. It's just a bunch of post types put together with some simple CSS and some styling. I'm heating up food, by the way, so if you can hear my microwave, I apologize. Um, so one of the things that actually goes on is when you look at a theme and it says that this is specifically built for WordPress and you can have unlimited pages and unlimited posts, that's actually a selling technique because a theme does not dictate how many pages and how many posts you can actually have. You can install WordPress anywhere on any website without a theme and without a plugin, and you can do unlimited pages and unlimited posts. So don't get suckered in to having to buy something just because it says cupcake theme and you have a cupcake shop. One of the other things that really bothers me when it comes to clients needing to have a specific theme to match their business is the way that they actually think WordPress works. So themes should do nothing other than control the visual aspect of your website. So what I mean by that is your theme should be making pretty colors, should help enhance your logo, and should control a little bit of the layout aspect of how your homepage looks, or maybe how your blog and stuff like that looks. But as far as functioning, your plugins should really be handling that. And the reason why your plugins should be handling your functionality and not your theme is because, well, first of all, many reasons, but the biggest reason is when something goes wrong, it's really easy to turn off a plugin and find another plugin to take over that functionality. If you have something built into your theme and there's a problem with it, the only way to fix it is to fix the entire theme or to find the line of code where that problem is coming, or you have to switch entire themes. And if you've ever switched themes, you know that shortcodes go away, you know that pages start to break and images start to break. Changing themes sometimes can be a hassle. But if you put everything into a plugin, like your contact form, and you have contact form issues, you can deactivate the problem and solve it and then turn it back on, or you go and you find a brand new plugin. It's really that simple. Something that I do, so I work at Maintain. I work for a support company that is a web dev joint, a web dev studios, and we have people coming to us all the time. And something that's been recently happening is clients are coming to us and they are using a theme, and they don't really know why they're using that theme. They just kind of trusted that the person they hired to develop their site knew what they were talking about. So they went ahead and put them on. I don't want to name any themes because I think that any theme can be used for anything. But let's just say that this developer put them on theme A, and theme A is really cool. It's a general theme that's sold. Millions of people use it, but it's probably not the best solution for that client. But it was only $50. It got them like 30, 45% of the way. And, why not use this theme? So something that we've been doing at Maintain is we've been slowly suggesting better themes or a better solution to fix our clients' problems. And part of that comes to, well, why don't we use this plugin and stop relying on themes? Or why don't we try to solve it this way instead of keep band-aiding it through the theme? No questions? All right, let's keep going. I love Genesis. I don't know how to print it. Marjorie. I love Genesis. And that's actually one of the theme shops that I will recommend. I usually try to recommend underscores first because underscores, first of all, it's just amazing. But WebDevStudios has their own version of underscores, and that's what we build everything on top of. But if that's not a route you want to go and you want to buy something that's fast and reliable, I would definitely go with Genesis because the child theme, all the functionality is built into the child theme, but there's a lot of plugins that you can use with that. Yeah, Genesis for the win. So I have a problem when it comes to actual WordPress theme demonstrations, and this is why I say that your theme should not dictate your business, or that your business should not dictate your theme. Um, when you look at a WordPress theme demonstration, it's beautiful. It's great. You have this large header. The blog is the way that you want it to be. All the images, they have a hover effect, and there's a portfolio custom post type. There's a news section. It does everything you want. My problem with WordPress theme demonstrations is that the theme author never tells you how something is being built. You have no idea if the theme is being built on shortcodes or using a homepage template and a bunch of widgets, or if it's raw HTML that you have to put into the page editor. You have no idea if you have to go into the settings and use a custom homepage or just use the index homepage. What I'm getting at here is that I wish there was an easier way for people to, or for not people, for theme authors to tell you what's going on. I wouldn't think any less of a theme author if they told me that this is all ran on shortcodes. At least I know, okay, here's how much work is going to go into this. Maybe that person doesn't want to put that much work into it, and they might lose a sale here and there. But when you look at something like Genesis, I know that 99.9% of the time, the homepage is strictly built on widgets. And I love that about Genesis. Every child theme is built on widgets. So I know what I'm getting into before I even start a project. Or when a client comes to us and they say, this is what we want to do, I know that they're using Genesis, and here's how we're going to solve the problem. The problem with theme demonstrations starts getting with, well, okay, now I have to learn how this shortcode works because not all themes and not all code is written equally. So I have to go and learn this project, which might take an hour or 2 hours, and then I have to change gears and go help this client, and now they have a different code. My problem with WordPress theme demonstrations is that nothing is the same and they don't tell you what's going on. Sometimes they will give you a white paper or a PDF that gives you instructions, but usually those instructions say something like, oh, just import this dummy file and you'll have an exact copy of the theme demonstration, which is great. Thank you for that. My problem is I don't necessarily want the same pictures and the same layout that you are selling on this theme demonstration and that come with this dummy file. So what I would really like is I would like you to build something that says, here's a blank index page, or here's a general idea of how an index page works. Here's your home page. Here's a couple posts, and here's how your blog can set up. Show me how I can start altering my theme instead of saying, well, import this and run with it. There's a lot of themes out there that they just import and say, hope you have fun. Thank you for your $100. And I think it leaves a lot of new WordPress new WordPress website owners. I think it leaves them stressed. I think that's why they actually reach out to WordPress support companies like Maintain. They get stuck, they have no idea, or it seems so confusing. I know HTML, I know CSS. What are these shortcodes? What are widgets? Not everybody knows everything about WordPress, but in order to use this theme, I have to use these shortcodes or I have to use these widgets. So I don't want your business to dictate your theme. Just because you have a motorcycle repair shop doesn't mean you have to use the theme called motorcycle repair shop theme. 99% of the time, you can take something like 2016 and do a little bit of CSS and maybe add a custom post type, and you can create the same thing for, I don't want to say less money because that's not fair, but I will say that it's a little bit easier to keep adding small little additional chunks instead of rebuilding your entire website because this new theme, changes the color purple or it adds a portfolio section. While we're talking about custom post types, I want to get rid of custom post types altogether. What I mean by that is I want to stop calling them custom post types, and I want to start calling them additional content types, because that's what WordPress is. And that's what a theme should actually be selling you on, is that my theme does the same thing as the next 3 themes that you're going to see, except we have added our own additional content types to make it do this. I think if you worded it that way, more people would be more likely to buy a theme, but I think they would be less likely to be scared of that theme. Additional content types versus custom post types. Tell me in the chat which one sounds scarier. Or when you were brand new, custom post types, did you know what that meant right out of the box? Or did you have to have somebody explain to you what that is? I think additional content types is a little easier to grasp your head around. Content types makes a lot more sense than post types. Lauren, I agree with you. See? Sorry, that was my cat. No, I had a cat too. So, Lauren, maybe my cat and your cat were talking to each other. That's kind of cool. I think most of the time when you look at WordPress demonstrations, they're trying to sell you on things. Have you ever seen those movies or those cartoons where like a car is $9.99 and the dealer flips the 9 and turns it into a 6 and now it's $6.99? I feel like a lot of theme demonstrations do that sometimes, especially when it comes to unlimited pages and unlimited posts. But the real kicker, the best definition that I could give you is that these themes are using a plugin to handle the visual drag and drop element, but they're telling you that this theme could have 200 homepage layouts, right? So we're talking about Visual Composer. I love Visual Composer. I'm not trying to be negative towards it. But what I'm saying is that this is another selling technique. If you install Visual Composer into Genesis, now Genesis can have 200 different homepage layouts. Or you put it into WDS underscores, or you put it into Heisenberg by Zeek Interactive. All these themes now have 200 page layouts. So why these themes, why they do great things and they have great layouts, it's another selling technique. It's basically the plugin author taking that 9 and changing it to a 6 just because they're using a third-party plugin to accomplish this drag and drop element. I've actually seen one theme. It's Enfold by Creasy, and he actually had 8 different homepage templates. That is the closest I've ever seen to 200 different homepage layouts. Because if you know how WordPress works, and if you know how themes work, there's a homepage.php template, and there's a homepage2.php, and so on and so forth. So if you're going to claim that this has 200 different homepage layouts, show me in the back of the code. Show me something where there's all these page layouts. If you're using a visual drag and drop element, that's fine, but tell me you're using a visual drag and drop element. Don't make me buy something to figure out that this is another sales technique. I think a lot of people, when they come to maintain, they feel like that they were suckered into this deal and they're stuck. They have to use this theme because, they like the way it is, they like the colors, but it's not doing what they want. First of all, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you build the website that you actually want. But at the same time, I'm going to give you better advice, or I'm going to give you my opinion on, you're doing it this way. You could do the same thing with this other plugin, and I think it would be more effective. And at least, now you have a better understanding of how your website works, other than, well, everything is drag and drop. Nothing on my personal website is drag and drop. Everything on my personal website is actually built 100% custom by myself. I used WD underscores as my theme, and I have a child theme going. And so the biggest thing that I learned about WordPress themes is that you don't need to keep changing themes. just because you like the header or you like where the menu bar is on this theme and you don't like where it is on your theme right now. You can just I say simply, but you have to know a little bit about programming. But what I'm saying is you can just rearrange things in your header.php file and you can have a new looking header. If you don't like the bottom of your website, you just change footer.php and you can have a new footer. You don't need to keep changing themes just because you like one aspect, but you don't like the other aspect. I change themes all the time, but what I mean by that is I'm constantly updating my file. I will go and change a new header file. I will go and change my footer file, my sidebar, my homepage. I change all these all the time. My theme has changed drastically, but my point is I'm not going and being sold on theme demonstrations and visual drag and drop elements every single time I want to do something different. I'll sit down, I'll try to figure out if I can do it with an additional content type and a little bit of CSS. And usually that's easier than trying to install a new theme, figure out, how the shortcodes work or the elements or, different widgets. It's usually easier to add a simple thing like a custom post type. Let's see, any other questions? Does anybody have any questions at all? Feel free, drop it in here, and we'll go from there. So I did this talk at Orange County WordCamp 2016, but one of the things that I was trying to reference is when you look at a WordPress theme demonstration, like let's say for an example, a magazine theme. And usually a magazine theme has like a nice slider, and then there's like 200 posts on that homepage. Have you ever considered that your WordPress theme might be holding you back? I do this all the time. When I see a client, they come to us and their homepage doesn't look like the demo homepage of a theme demonstration. Well, it doesn't look like it because, there's only 3 posts instead of 5 in this section. There's only 8 posts instead of 16 in this section. And some clients feel like they need to hit that number of posts just to look like the theme demonstration. I didn't realize this. I was sitting in Las Vegas, where I am currently now. I was at a blogger meetup, and a non-developer blogger for the Fremont Street Experience, he told me that my theme was holding me back. And I didn't know what he meant by this. And he said, you're chasing your homepage. You're trying to fill all these blog posts, or you're trying to make it look a certain way. He said, and it's getting in the way of your content. You're not producing great content because you're trying to reach this unattainable goal. So have you ever considered that maybe your WordPress theme demonstration or your WordPress theme, the second you bought it, it's already set you back? It's something to think about. It's very interesting. Elroy, what do you think about themes selling as a business? I think when you sell themes as a business, so let's say you're going to open up shop, I think there's always a great way to do things. But like I said earlier, just be honest. Just tell people what's going on. Sure, it's a numbers game, and it's something that let's be honest, you want to make $100 million selling themes, and I'm all for that. But the only way that X and Jupiter and Aveda, the only way that those 3 themes have become one of the top sellers on ThemeForest is that their documentation is really good and their support is really good. So it's not about their theme, it's about the people behind the theme. Because once again, you can make a theme do anything you want because you can add additional content types, you can do CSS, and you can do a little bit of JavaScript, but it's helping your clients stick with your theme. And I think that if you write a solid theme and you provide easy solutions to alter that theme for individual clients, I think you'll have better success. Instead of just saying, here's version 2.0, hope it works, and then there was a theme, I forget what it's called, but there was one version of it and it was called Alaska. And then there was another version of it, and it was called Karma or something else. Like, instead of releasing version 1.0 and 2.0, he would just release a new theme under a new name, and he was getting people to buy it. And while that's kind of a smart idea, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of wonderful. At the same time, he's convincing people that they need to change their theme in order to do this instead of just, releasing something like an add-on plugin and building that in. So when it comes to selling themes, I think A, you need to be honest, and B, you need to back your theme and have the support and the people behind it, and your theme and your theme shop could be very successful. Um, so Jose, you asked, is there a disadvantage to using a framework? Um, So I don't want to say there's a disadvantage, but I do think at some times when you use a framework that you're going to get locked into a box. So what I mean by that is if you use Divi and you use the Divi builder, you cannot install a plugin that's built specifically just for Genesis. And if you use Genesis, it would be very hard to use the Divi builder on Genesis because they do two separate things. Theoretically, it should work. But what I'm getting at is that if you're going to use Genesis, you should figure out how to do things the Genesis way. But if you're just interested in building a site using a number of different tactics, then maybe don't lock yourself into a framework exactly. But there's always a way around that. You can use Bootstrap, built by Twitter, with Genesis. There's actually people who have built plugins to do this, or there's ways to enqueue the scripts. So it's not bad to use a framework, and I don't think there are disadvantages. But at the same time, the number of options you have start shrinking because you are locked into a specific framework. I hope I answered your question. What's one or two most reoccurring requests with WordPress theme issues? WordSesh. Ooh, I like it. Even the event is asking questions. This is good. So at Maintain, one of the most reoccurring support requests with WordPress themes usually comes just to simple changes. Like they want to have these big buttons, and now they feel these buttons are too big, so they want us to go ahead and rework the homepage or rebuild the theme. That's usually something that comes to us a lot. The other thing that comes with WordPress theme issues is updates. I don't want to put anybody on blast, so we won't do that. But with theme updates, sometimes you can lock yourself into a version of a theme, and it's like version 2.1.2, and we take over the site, not take over, but we add our maintain services to the site, and we go ahead and click update. And one of the issues is something like a theme called Mobius. The theme went from shortcodes to Visual Composer. So we updated from version 1.1 to 2.2. The client agreed that it was okay to do this. And so everything was broken because there's no more shortcodes and it's all Visual Composer. And we had to rebuild everything like crazy. So that's one or two of the most reoccurring things is simple changes that maybe aren't so simple, and updates. And I know updates is kind of a broad general topic, but updating themes is kind of a big deal. And that's why child themes are so important. Your child theme should be handling all the changes you want to make to your parent theme, and then you should be able to update your parent theme left and right as soon as updates come out. Because let's be honest, WordPress is not perfect. Sometimes things will change, and we need to go and maybe fix some code to make it more secure, or we need to do things a specific way because the core team found something different. So I think that if you are locked into a parent theme and you don't have a child, you should jump onto a child theme as soon as possible. But you should also just know that you should be updating frequently because updates actually mean something other than you're getting a new version of the theme. Some things do change, some things need to change, and you should be updating frequently. Michael Fitzpatrick. Are there any premium theme shops that have the code open source on GitHub? I've purchased themes that I've tried to contribute fixes to and been told they're not are not the open source. That's interesting. I don't think as a developer, if I was selling a product, I definitely don't think I would allow pull requests to the paid version of my plugin simply because you could download the paid version. But I do think that there should be something maybe on somebody's website that says, um, do you know how to fix this bug, or would you like to report a bug and tell us how to fix it? I think theme developers should do that because, as we all know, there are some talented people out there that do WordPress theme development. Sorry, my animals are going barking. I think there are some people out there that do wonderful theme development that could actually help, X or Jupyter or Aveda fix their problem. But I don't think there are any open source GitHub repos out there that you can contribute to. I hope I answered your question. So WordSesh, what theme, if any, would you recommend to users that's on Theme Forest? Ooh, that's kind of a tough one. The only reason why that's a tough question is I don't think there's one theme that can do everything. I know that goes against what I said, that you can take any theme and turn it into what you want to do. But for the most part, I think you could take something like Enfold by Creasy, or I think you could take Jupyter. I forget who makes Jupyter, but I think you could take those two themes on Theme Forest, and I've seen them do some incredible things that are not around Visual Composer. So those are two themes on Theme Forest that I would recommend, Enfold and Jupyter. Aaron Jordan, what do you wish Core did differently to make theme building easier? What a question. Thank you, Aaron Jordan. I've never met you, by the way. I hear your name all the time. So the next WordCamp we're at, we should kick it. So what do I wish Core did differently? Sorry, I have crackers going. What do you wish Core did differently to make theme building easier? I don't think that we could actually start doing things to make theme building easier. I do like how classes are. I do like the way that a lot of themes are being object-oriented, stuff like that. I think maybe documentation, Aaron. I think things, this is the correct way to get the title, or this is the correct way to filter content. Because there are a lot of themes out there that do their own thing. And I think with Genesis, specifically, I think Genesis figured out how to load websites quicker by not doing everything 100% the way that Core does inside of 2015 or 2016, so on and so forth. But I definitely think that better documentation, or maybe explaining the documentation a little bit more, could help theme developers get away from using drag and drop kind of elements. Aaron, I hope I answered your question. Can you talk about adding hooks into your own custom theme for scalability? Jonathan Perlman. I hope I said your name. You should be adding hooks into your own customized stuff if you are going to be releasing it to the public, especially on GitHub, or if you're going to get on the WordPress repo. This is something that I learned at WordCamp Orange County in the Plugin Palooza. So I wrote a plugin, and I provided absolutely zero hooks into what I was doing, which is okay. But at the same time, if somebody wanted to make my plugin better by hooking into it and using a filter or an action, I wasn't giving them that tool. So adding hooks. So essentially, what that means is that this is how we are doing something in our theme. Like, let's say we're getting the title, or we're wrapping it in an H tag, or some kind of physical element, adding a hook like a filter to either turn that off or to um, get that information, change it up, and then pass it back to the theme. That's what we're talking about: hooks, actions, filters. So things like this. Let's talk about making it easier, and I think learning how to do this correctly is the easiest way to do it. But if you look at something like 2016, there are hooks, there are actions within that theme that are just crazy, that are just very easy to filter, very easy to get into and do what you want to do. So when it comes to hooks, when it comes to filters, I think that there's an easier way to do it, but you should definitely add them if you're going to release your theme out in the wild. Or if you're just going to let one person download it, maybe that person is a developer, and you should simply give them something like one hook or one filter, and see if they use it and go from there. So I hope I answered your question as well. Let's go through. Let's go through. You guys are just typing away. I love this. This is great. I think let's see, AJ Zane. I agree with everything you said. It's definitely a major turn off point for people who need a publishing platform and a reason of blah blah blah. How do you think your ideas for making better demos can be adopted by theme developers? Is it something Automatic should require for WordPress.com, or something that should be required on WordPress.org? AJ, I love your enthusiasm, and let me answer your question. So, how do we take my ideas and make them better demos? I think number one, your theme demo should tell you the version of the theme you're running. I have found some themes that are updated to version 1.4.5, but when you actually view the style sheet, they're on version 1.3 still. So if you are not running the latest version of your theme, why do you expect me to be running the latest version of your theme, or why do you expect me to buy your theme? Now I know that not everybody is technical enough to find the version that a theme demonstration is running, but I encourage everybody to go learn how it works. Just simply because you want to buy something and you want to make sure that what you're looking at is what you're getting, right? You would never go to a car dealership and, be sold on a 2016, but you actually walk away on a 2013. So I think themes are the same way. I don't think that core, or I don't think .com or .org should regulate a lot of my ideas. But what I do think that they should adopt is documentation on the actual theme. So some themes come with, like screenshots or with an instruction. But what I would like to see themes do, or what I would like theme developers or theme authors to do, is simply say, this is why I built this theme. And it's not just because I want to get, greedy rich or whatever. It's simply because I think this theme could help a cupcake shop, because here's what we do. I think better documentation is always the answer to start with. But what I would really like theme authors to do, and with WordPress.org, how do we make it better? Is I think that we start doing things and we make everything required that it has to be a child theme. No matter what, there should be a child theme. And I know that that's not fair to some people, but I think the sooner you learn about child theming and how wonderful it is, I think the better off WordPress could be. So AJ, I hope I answered your question. I know we've talked a few times at WordCamp about this. Thank you for the question. Russell, how do you feel about the big push towards theme end user adjustments being pushed to the customizer? I'm glad you asked this. 6 months ago, I would have told you that the customizer is rubbish and that I wasn't a big fan of it. And then I met Genesis, and I met the Altitude Pro theme. And the Altitude Pro theme on Studio Press The entire homepage, it's built on widgets, but when you use the customizer, it makes it so much easier to add background images instead of doing it the old way, which was either CSS or by using some kind of meta box. I think the customizer is brilliant. I think these, competing rivals such as Wix and Weebly and stuff like that, they're using some kind of customizer. So I think with WordPress, we have this option. And do I necessarily think that all themes need to move towards this customizer? No, definitely not. I think some things need to remain in an option panel, but I do think the customizer is a good thing. I think that drag and drop or sliding elements like making the width, instead of making somebody figure out that they want 1190 versus 1280, making them type that is kind of crazy, where they can just use a thing to slide it left and right and they can see that change live. I think those are great elements, and we should be adapting more things like that into themes. Keep your questions coming, guys. I love these questions. Um, I'm not here to sell you on an idea that you shouldn't be buying themes off of Theme Forest, because I have personally purchased themes off of Theme Forest. I actually know a couple theme developers, and I bought their themes. But regardless, I have put my credit card on Envato.com, and I have paid for themes. So I'm not here being the anti-Theme Forest. All I'm saying is know what you're getting into before it's too late. It's not hard to ask somebody on a WordSesh just like this, or on Twitter, or in the advanced Facebook group on, clearly Facebook. It's not hard to ask somebody what their opinion is on the theme. I think hearing both sides of the argument about why, let's say Divi is a good or a maybe not so well designed theme, I think hearing both arguments is a wonderful thing. And I think it only makes that theme better once the author starts seeing maybe some of the negative comments, or maybe seeing, how somebody took their theme and made it so much more. So I definitely think that you should get more involved in the WordPress community. I think that when you look at WordPress theme demonstrations, hopefully after this talk, you will see that this theme doesn't necessarily do what it says it's saying it does. It's only doing it because it has an additional content type. It's not magic. It's not some guy pulling rabbits out of a hat. It's purely code, and just because that theme has that code doesn't mean your theme can't have that code as well. There might be some additional steps required for you to obtain said code in that theme, but it's very possible to do. Some of my employees, or I'm sorry, I don't own WebDevStudios. Let's just be very clear. Some of my coworkers, they do some talented stuff all day long, and I lean on them left and right. How would you do this? Brad Williams, how would you do this? Ryan Messlaner, how would you go about solving this? Brad Parbs, even. I lean on Brad Parbs a lot. Just asking those guys and having them say, I'd make it a plugin and do this. I think getting advice is always good, but asking somebody, it always gives you a better outlook on what a theme could do. I think some people get stuck in, I would only use Divi, and they become, it's like Coca-Cola. Once you're a Coca-Cola fan, you're not going to go like Pepsi. So I think once you find somebody who loves Divi, they're going to keep selling you on Divi, when you should ask other people around and see what they're using. How many people know Bridget Willard over from WordPress? So last week we did their WP Blab show, and I taught Bridget how to find what theme Wheaties.com is using. I taught her how to find the style sheet. I taught her how to find the URL of the author. I taught her how to find what plugins that site might be using. this is all knowledge that you can obtain just by reading a couple WordPress articles over on like WP Tavern or WebDevStudios or even like Torque.io. And you can start learning what discovery.com or the Microsoft blogs, you can start learning what themes they're using, and you can start putting your own websites on the same themes. All this information is readily available, and you should definitely take an interest in learning more about themes. Um, the Divi builder, Divi 3.0, is apparently being rewritten in React.js. I did not know that. See, even I learned something cool about Divi and Divi Builder. That's really, really cool. Questions. I'm looking for any more. Any more questions? If not, we have a few more minutes. Something that's very near and dear to my heart when it comes to WordPress theme demonstrations. Um, I would like to know what version of WordPress that theme is running on. And I say this with all articles that I read. I read a lot of WordPress articles. I've probably read everything WP Tavern has put out. I've read everything that Torque has put out. I used to read Smashing, the Smashing website. I used to read that all the time. I read Josh Pollock's blog. I love his blog too. I think when you start reading WordPress articles, and somebody is suggesting code, I think it would be great if that theme author, that blog author said, you know what, when I wrote this code, I was using version 3.6. And at least I know that, it probably still should work. Theoretically, this code should still work. But if it doesn't work, maybe here's why. It's because, it was written 4 years ago or 5 years ago. But because SEO and the way that businesses ran, nobody tells you that. So they say, hey, you want to do this with your theme, copy and paste this into your functions.php file. And I think that's a horrible way to go about, trying to give people advice. So what I would like, maybe Core could do that. Maybe Core already shows you. That's not true. What I was going to say is that Core shows you what version of WordPress that a plugin is actually ready for, but that's not true because I just updated my plugin and I said that my plugin is ready for 4.6. I have tested my plugins, but I would like Core. Maybe I would like the WordPress Core theme development shop. Maybe I would like them to give us a little bit more insight of what a theme does. Like I would like, ooh, this is a good thing for Aaron Jorvin or for AJ Zane. I would like to know that a theme is running on widgets, or I would like to know that a theme, is all raw HTML. I don't know how you do that because there's 15,000 plus themes out there, but maybe we could start doing that now, and in 10 years from now, every theme would just do that. I think, that would be great. WordSesh, I love these questions. Keep them coming. What do you think of the prices for premium themes from Creative Diva? I'm not big on pricing. Let's be very clear. I think everything should be free, but of course, people have a mortgage, people have rent to pay. I think sometimes when you look at Genesis, they have deals where it's like $399 or $499, but I think Genesis is standard at $599. Please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think that's a lot of money, especially if you're gonna just have a simple cat blog or you're gonna have something very simple, like a travel blog. I don't think you need to go out and spend $500 on it, especially if this is your first blog. So I think when you look at premium themes and, I can have this great looking theme and it's only, $69, I think that's good, but I think at the same time, not some things are too good to be true. $69, I think, for especially for theme development, I think is kind of underselling your talent. I think, in the next 4 years, themes will no longer be $60. They're going to go down to $40 because that's usually how sales work. someone comes in and writes an amazing product and they sell it at a lower price, and it forces everybody else to drag their price down with them. So I think pricing, I think it'd be great if everything cost the same. Um, ex- that's a very fine line I'm drawing. What I'm saying is if you're going to sell something on a marketplace, maybe the marketplace sells everything for the same price. Unless it's doing something very specific. But then if it's doing something specific, maybe it's an add-on and it keeps that theme the same price. I'm a big fan for selling add-ons. I've sell my own add-ons for easy digital downloads and Gravity Forms and stuff like that. I think pricing should always stay the same, and I think a marketplace would have a better rapport because of that. I miss Woo themes. Yeah, I miss Woo themes as well. I'm a big fan of everything Woo. I'm a big fan of everybody at Woo. Go Woo Ninjas. They're coming up soon. I believe maybe they were already on. I'm kind of bad at this, aren't I? Let's go one last question. When, if ever, do you think we'll see themes being written in primarily JavaScript with the API? Ooh, I think there are themes being written every day with JavaScript and with React and with the API. I've seen Roy from highroy.com or highroy.net. Go say hi to Roy right now. I've seen him do some amazing things with the API. Do I think that that needs to be a theme right away? No. But I've seen some incredible apps. I've seen some things like App Presser do some great things with the API. And I think that eventually those could be running single-handed themes that are, using Ajax, using auto refresh, and not necessarily looking at themes the way they are now. But when do I think that's going to happen? I think we're still, 4 to 5 years from actually changing the platform and saying, all right, all themes are now JS and no more PHP. I think we're at least 4 to 5 years from that discussion. Maybe they're having now. I've been known to be wrong. Last one, from WordSesh. And what do you think of refunds for premium themes? From Creative Diva. You're on fire, Creative Diva. We should hang out sometime whenever we're at a WordCamp. So what do I think about refunds and premium themes? I don't think they should be automatic. Somebody says, I bought this, I don't want it. Matt Cromwell from WordImpress, he told me this thing about how he handles refunds. He's more than happy to give a refund, but you have to give him a chance to solve your problem. And I think Pippin Williamson works the same way with EDD. He will give you a refund. That's not the argument. But if you bought this theme or you bought this plugin and you're not able to accomplish what you were trying to do, tell us what you were trying to do and let us try to help you accomplish that goal. At which point, if we can't help you, here's your refund. Have a good day. No hard feelings. But I think there are a lot of websites out there. Actually, if you go to maintain.com and read our blog, I wrote a blog post about fourth and fifth party theme resellers and plugin resellers. But I think there's a lot of people out there that buy a theme, they get the download files, and then they ask for a refund. So I don't think it's fair that refunds should have to be, automatic and the customer's always right. I think that by adopting the give us a chance to solve your problem method, I think more people would be a lot happier with that. Are we out of time? We need to wrap up. I think we're just saying that. My name is Russell Aaron. I work at WebDevStudios under the Maintain branch, you could say. Check out WebDevStudios. Before you buy a theme, just ask questions. That's all I want you to do. How is it built? What's it doing to be built? And what version of WordPress is it using? Thank you, everybody. I had a blast. Come hang out at WordCamp Ann Arbor, October 14th through the 15th. Now, dance party.